Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. The Summer League opener is in the books, and the champs picking up right where they left off. An 82-69 win over the San Antonio Spurs today. Oof, I mean, let me tell you something. That was an ugly start to this game. Not just the fact that there wasn't much scoring, but you had like a clock malfunction. I mean, it must have taken, it felt like a half hour. I think the real time ended up being like 8 minutes long, but they couldn't get the damn scoreboard fixed. And so the game just started off and it's just a complete sputter, which was not great. Off the bat, let's talk about Kasparas Jakučionis. Pretty quiet debut for the Miami Heat first-round pick. Not a lot of highlights to bring home for KJ. Now I got two KJs on this team. You know, I'm calling him Ghost. Yeah, I can't. Keshad Johnson's KJ, and then, you know, Kaz is going to be Kaz and Ghost for me. But Jakučionis, not a game you're going to remember. This is not going to be one that's exactly going to be recalled when they raise his jersey to the rafters 20 years from now. But that's okay. Who gives a rat's ass? It's his first Summer League game. There's going to be some jitters. He didn't get the three ball going, but basically everybody who wasn't Eric Stevenson did not hit a three today for Miami. They shot 6 for 29 from downtown. Here was your offensive performance. 6 for 29 from downtown. Which is under 21% for the team. And from the field today, 36.6%. But Kasparas Jakučionis, not a lot of pizzazz on it. I'd say probably his best. He was found on a nice cut from Pelle Larsson that he couldn't finish, that Vlad Golden ended up finishing on a dunk. He ended up getting a little bit of a leak-out fast break bucket to get on the board for his first field goal, and he got one free throw today. So there was that. He had 3 turnovers, a little helter-skelter with the ball. I would say the best thing, honestly, that Kasparas Jakučionis brought today, and I think the Heat are actually going to fall in love with this, he had 3 plays today where he got extra possessions for Miami. And that was actually something that really stood out today. You have 2 teams here, Heat, Spurs, 2 teams known for their culture, and I think that the Heat probably had to be proud of a lot of guys all over the place, drawing fouls, particularly the guy who really set the tone for Miami, and that's who we'll get to here in just a second, and that was their second-round pick from last year, Pelle Larsson, who was absolutely fantastic today in just intensity, demeanor, bringing everything to the game. But Jakučionis had 3 plays on a tussle on the loose ball on the floor. That ended up being Miami's ball. Right out of halftime, he gets a deflection that gets Miami back the basketball. And then towards the end, I think when Kel'el was taking his final free throw, he ends up saving that, throwing that off of Spurs. So, you know, one of the things we heard from Brad Underwood, if you guys listen on the radio show this week, his college coach says just a very high IQ player. This is a guy who's very, very aware and sees things. And so that awareness, very much there. Not even a game where I would say he had the ball in his hands a ton. I think that Pelle really dominated that front today for Miami and deserved. I mean, Pelle Larsson is, you know, probably the veteran of this team, and you could see that he kind of walked around that game with a swagger to him, and also did a great job on the intangibles. Pelle Larsson, I think he had 2 charges drawn today, and probably should have had 2 more. He was flying all over the place. I mean, he really was. And I think from my standpoint, set the tone for this game, driving downhill, just really setting the tone there. He got to the free throw line a bunch today. 10 of 11 from the free throw line for Pelle Larsson today for old Swedish Swish. Finished off with 18 points, 3 rebounds, and, you know, just in a game that had I read you the overall percentages, but just especially early on, like things definitely settled down there in the second half of this game, but in the first half, it was a rough watch for everybody who partook in this one. Yeah, I mean, San Antonio didn't crack 20 in the first. You had 12-13. They outscored Miami 13-12 in the first quarter. They scored 16. Actually, they didn't cracked 20 in 3 of the quarters today, San Antonio. So they had an even rougher game offensively. I mean, hell, they had 69 points. But Miami did really start to settle in, and I think that was kind of that's probably the word that goes more to it. But in that second half, I would actually say probably Kira Lewis Jr. Looked at pretty strong going to the basket. At this former first round pick of the New Orleans Pelicans had a knee injury, kind of derailed his career a little bit. So he's almost in that Josh Christopher role this year of hey, can he find something with Miami? Maybe he gets a 2-way contract. I don't know. But he had a nice good game. And I would say he probably had the play of the first half where he gets a steal and then just sets up Keshad Johnson for an absolute hammer to put Miami up 30-25. So that was I would say probably the most impressive play. Pelle, he closed the first half with 11 points, looking really, really strong. I mentioned the Kasparas play out of halftime, so he had that going for him. Kel'el Ware, kind of a slow start. I mean, I think that was the thing that was interesting. If you guys heard yesterday, he gave some quotes to the reporters there, or Eric Glass, who, by the way, his hair is pristine. Woof. That is a good looking head of hair on the top of the Heat Summer League head coach, who, by the way, I think he had 3 drops out of bounds to set up Miami for buckets. So shout out to Eric Glass. He was doing his thing. If he was he was doing his thing. He was getting his SPO on with some of those drops out of the huddle. But, Kel'el, in the third quarter, had a really sick turnaround bucket and foul. Definitely his prettiest move of the game after getting off to a slow start. Again, as I mentioned, nobody really had their 3-point shot. So if you look at Kel'el's numbers, you're going to look at that field goal and you're like, ew. And I would say that for Kel'el, it was until we got to the fourth quarter, because I think that he and Keshad Johnson really put the hammer down on this game defensively. And I don't know if that was just, he is look, when you're playing in the NBA and you got to go to these summer league games, would you like to see him dominate quarter to quarter, wire to wire? Certainly. But I will say, it definitely felt like when he got him for his last stint there in the fourth quarter, that intensity went up for Kel'el Ware, and he looked very, very impressive. But overall today, you'd look at his 5 for 14, finishing with 14 points, and be like, eh. But he did go 0 for 4 from downtown, so he got up a good amount of shots from downtown. Nothing really going for him. He did get to the line a handful of times. But for me, it was the 3 blocks, 2 steals, and especially there in that fourth quarter, really just cranking up that intensity. And I just thought that he looked real strong. KJ too, Keshad Johnson, just kind of all over the place. I would say up until the steal that Kira Lewis had that led to the hammer dunk, my favorite play of the game. Keshad Johnson had a block. My favorite part of the game was Kel'el Ware had himself a block. Spurs keep possession, and then Keshad blocks a 3. Loose ball. I think Warren ended up with it. Bryson Warren ended up with it, and he set up Keshad Johnson for a fast break bucket. And that put Miami up double digits. And that felt like pretty much the hammer of the game. Miami got a little cute. Pelle Larsson was trying stuff from Steph Land. That wasn't going. But then Kel'el gets another block, and then Kel'el, his probably most individual effort of play of the game, where he gets a steal that leads to a bucket. Miami's up 15. And that was pretty much all she wrote. He looked pretty fantastic to end that fourth quarter. I thought really changed the perception of his performance. And I get it. It's Summer League. You guys are sitting here saying, Tobin, that was way too much breakdown of Summer League. I love it. I miss this basketball team so much. Mind you guys, we've been bounced from the first round in 4 games. It was a long time since we've seen anybody with Heat jerseys actually do basketball stuff. No rumors, no fodder, no talking about trading max players. Will we do a video about it? Probably. But not that I agree with it. But this one today, I thought that, The story of today, Kasparas Jakučionis didn't look fantastic, didn't look bad, had some good effort plays, but nothing that really popped for the kid. Kel'el Ware, Pelle Larsson, your draft class from last year. Pelle set the tone of this game. He got everybody settled down. I would say, was player of the game. Kel'el Ware looked fantastic. And then Keshad Johnson, who some are questioning some of the game, I just thought he was relentless. 9 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks today for KJ. And, just kind of brought that relentless strength. And I like the fact that his impact was defensively, because honestly, I think that is how he's going to make his way in the rotation. He's going to have to be an absolute hound dog defensively if he is going to be. Do people like hound dogs? They're kind of like droopy. Junkyard dog. Just Dunkyard dog. It makes me a little sad. I think about Duncan and, like everybody uses. I feel like Davion is bulldog, and bulldogs are typically smaller. He's a moose. Hound dogs, though, like woof. Like you think about like the droopy. You want to know something? He's just a dog. That's what he is. That's what Keshad Johnson is, and I enjoy watching him. As far as like the supporting role characters, Eric Stevenson today, he came out, he lit it up. He was the only guy who could hit a 3-ball today. He was 4 for 4 from downtown. I was just looking at nobody from the Spurs hit more than 1 today. Ooh, those are some rough looking numbers. Vlad Golden. Yeah, Vlad Golden had some moments today. He had some moments today. He had some good follow-ups, some good rebounds. He actually had his best play, probably his previous move. He fakes a dribble handoff, which he was, by the way, really good at. He opened up some shooters on that as well. So I thought that was kind of an encouraging thing. If he does end up finding his way, getting any minutes this year, seems like a pretty shooter-friendly center. But he had a nice fake of one that led to a pretty bucket where he has the little pump fake there off to the side on the baseline. So that was his most impressive action from today. But certainly I thought of like the guys you don't know that well. Him and Stevenson probably had the best games. Kyra Lewis, I mentioned, he had some moments today. Javonte Cook, first half, shined a couple of times. But overall, I think today was, mostly about the players you most know, between Jakučionis' slow, not a great debut to write home about, and then also the sophomores all really coming through, and they kind of kicked ass. I mean, Pelle looked great, setting the tone. Keshad Johnson and Kel'el Ware felt like they really shut the hammer down. Put the hammer down, shut the door, put the hammer down. It's summer league for analogies too. Came in there and it felt like they, really wanted to. They took it home there in the fourth quarter. That's what we're trying to take it home on this recap, everybody. So I'd be curious to see. They got a back-to-back. They play the Lakers tomorrow. We'll be curious to see what Coach Glass does with some of those sophomore minutes, because all those guys played a pretty good chunk today. There was a guy today. Let me see. Wasn't there a guy on the Spurs that had 9 fouls? Osai Usifo. He had 9 personal fouls today. Anybody on the Heat get those numbers? No. Eric Stevenson had 5. Buddy had 4 threes. So there was good there. All in all, liked the game, especially after we got out of that dog bleep first quarter. Settled in. Good to have the Summer League team back, and good to start recapping these things again.